it's Jefferson, and are you ready for the next Jefferson story time? Okay. The next volunteer, his name is Dorian, and he lives in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Dorian gave me 3 things. Now, last time I said 3 words, but I kind of was confused. It's just 3 things that I need. If I said 3 words, then that would eliminate a lot of stuff. So the 3 things that Dorian is giving me to come up with a children's story, his first one is a unicorn. His second one is baseball. And his third one is fire, okay? So he threw baseball, a unicorn, and fire at my imagination. And so I had some fun writing this little story. And Dorian in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and everybody else watching, this is what I came up with. I hope you enjoy. Let me tell you about the wildest baseball game that Boonburg had ever seen. It was between the Pineville Prancin' Ponies and the hometown Stompin' Steeds. The Steeds were loaded with big, strong stallions, while the ponies were exactly what you'd think. And every time the Steeds were at bat, the ponies would tremble and shrink. Boonburg's stands were chock full of their crazy and die-hard fans. And every hit the Steeds would get, they banged their pots and pans. But there was one little spectator who wouldn't cheer or even wave his horn. Sitting alone at the end of the row was an anxious unicorn. He stuck out like a sore hoof when the Steeds would do something great. But he did let out a giggle when the Steeds never touched home plate. You're out, and you're out too, the umpire shouted at the stunned stallion crew. The Steeds couldn't believe the bad luck that they just had. No team had ever batted against them, especially one this bad. And just as you might assume, it did not go so well. The first batter missed by a yard, as far as I could tell. The second batter was no better, and he quickly struck right out. Then the careless pitcher threw a high pitch and hit the next batter in the snout. Okay, batter, take your base, the umpire boldly declared. The next batter saw his teammate's sore snout, and believe me, he was scared. But the same thing happened to him, and first and second base were filled. The next batter, was up, and of course he wasn't thrilled. Well, as you can guess, the same thing happened, and his snout nearly came right off. The rest of the team was hiding in the dugout. You couldn't even hear them cough. Prancin' Ponies, we need your next batter, the ump shouted back to the team. But all the Pineville ponies huddled together and were shaking in their seams. If you don't give me a batter, then I'm afraid that you will lose. But not one pony was brave enough to step forward among the boos. Be right there, the crowd turned to see the unicorn put on a baseball hat. The amused umpire quickly checked him over and gave him a little pat. Okay, little feller, the bases are loaded, now let the game commence. The pitcher threw so hard the ball caught fire and flew right over the fence. The little unicorn had a surprised look as the pitcher returned a grin. He took a deep breath and focused, but the pitcher did it again. Now the next pitch barely missed his snout, and he was more determined than before. And with one last pitch, the unicorn swung and smacked the ball right to its core. It was a grand slam for the ponies as the bat cracked oh so loud. The scene was so incredible, it even excited the hometown crowd. Among the celebration, a fire was quickly ablaze. The fans jumped from their seats to avoid the heat and raced around in a craze. There was panic everywhere, the game was ruined, and the story could end right here. But the unicorn quickly raced to the fire, leaving behind his fear. He stomped out the flames with his little hoofs and saved them all, including the stands. And everyone joined the stomping steeds and cheered and clapped their hands. Or maybe their hooves. The game eventually started back up and it ended in a draw. And the steeds and ponies became friends that day in Boonburg, Arkansas. Well, you know, I love baseball. I love baseball movies and short stories. They're always fun. It was a good little challenge, Dorian. You thought you had me, didn't you? But no, it was fun. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, I quickly had it figured out that that there was going to be a unicorn that was going to come into the game, and you know, I was toying around with how we were going to have a fire. You know, I didn't know if the bat would catch fire, but it kind of worked itself out that it would be a fast pitch that was thrown so hard it caught fire. I also, if you haven't caught on, whenever I do children's stories, it's always rhyming. I don't know why, but I always, for some reason, I like to rhyme children's stories. And I don't know, I read a lot of, I can't remember if the Berenstain Bears were rhyming, or Dr. Seuss definitely was. But I listened to a lot of Ray Stevens also when I was a kid. If you ever heard of him, Ray Stevens is a funny singer. And so his songs always sounded like a children's story to me. So for some reason, I like to rhyme. Okay? I don't do it all the time. There you go. All right, if you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind liking it, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do, because I want you to be notified for the next Jefferson story time, because I'm working on it right now. It's going to be a fun video, and it also, again, if you would like to put in your request for a story, just in the comments, put your first name, your city and state, and give me 3 things. Last time I said words, 3, just 1 word, but no. It can be 3 things, just not the same. All right, so hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.